Hi friends, it's get ready with me time. I haven't done one of these videos on my channel in literally years. No, it also hasn't happened in years. It's me sitting on my bed filming a video. I feel like that was very me like 2-3 years ago, which is crazy because it just transports me back to the time where I first moved into this flat. It's been like 3.5 years now, I want to say. I can't believe it. How much has changed in that time? I can't even begin to explain. Even within the last year, the amount of stuff that's changed in my life, crazy. And I was just thinking earlier, like how much I'd not kept you up to date and in the loop of what's going on in life lately. Now, if you follow me on other platforms, I'm sure most of you will already know most of the big updates and changes that have been going on in my life lately. By the way, hello.
Are you hungry?
I'm about to film a video, so I'll just eat later.
Alright, then tell me when you want to eat, then I'll get you some.
Okay, thanks, darling.
When are you gonna be done?
In like maybe 45 minutes.
5 hours.
45 minutes. Give me that much.
Okay, bye.
Bye. What was I saying? So, oh, by the way, I'm coming to you on a new device. I actually invested in a professional camera, which is what I'm filming on right now. Hopefully you guys can see an improvement in the quality of the video. I am actually using this video to trial how this turns out because I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not. I don't know the vibe. I don't know if it was the right decision. This whole period of things changing and yeah, my life being turned upside down has led me to just realize like I need to start taking certain things seriously, which is my content creation now, which is my full-time gig. So let's rewind. So around September time last year, I first found out that my company that I used to work at were going to start making redundancies. Bear in mind, this was my nikkah month, so I already had a lot of things planned, leave planned, a marriage to get done. Like there was already so much going on in my life that had already been organized essentially, and yeah, I guess they just decided to throw a spanner in the works for me. You know what, I'm not even mad about it and I'll go into that in a minute. But basically, yeah, I found out that they were going to make some redundancies. They didn't really specify any other details other than some people were going to be leaving. At that point I didn't know I was going to be one of those people. I can't lie to you, I had an idea, I had an inkling right from the beginning. Now don't get me wrong, when it comes to redundancies it's not performance related, and I knew for a fact my performance was on point. Like the feedback I was getting, the client I was working with, my managers, they were all so happy with me and I was in a really good place work-wise, despite the fact that I was, oh, I think there's a wasp trying to get in. Despite the fact that I was really not loving my job. I was learning on the job, but also borderline drowning on the job, like very slowly. And I know that might sound weird for me to say, but I had really good feedback during that time, but I genuinely did. Like obviously I worked my butt off. Like I worked so hard to make sure it looked like I knew what I was doing, especially from a client point of view, because my lord, they pay so much money to get the help that we were offering. So, you know, I definitely worked hard to make sure I was delivering and nobody could say anything about my work, which they didn't. But redundancies don't work that way. It doesn't matter how hard you work, it doesn't really matter what your performance looks like. If they want to make changes in their business and if they want to move things around, then someone's got to go. So essentially that's what happened, and the process started, like I said, around the time that I'd already planned to get married, and then by the time I'd come back, when I'd been on my honeymoon, when we'd done our nikkah, by that point, that's when I knew that I was one of the chosen ones. And do you know what? Like I said before, I don't think I was shocked. There was a moment in time within this whole process that I was actually looking at whether I could voluntarily put myself up for redundancy, because you get paid to leave the company essentially when you get made redundant. And I had already had it in my head for years before this ever happened to me that this wasn't my forever job. I think I knew in the back of my mind, I'd always pushed it down and I didn't really want to act on it. I was always really scared of the idea of not having this secure, stable, well-regarded job, and I just never wanted to put myself in the position where I wasn't earning a set amount of money every month, especially when I had my own property and there was like bills that were in my name that I had to pay month on month. Like it was a very scary thing to think about, so I didn't think about it and I just avoided it for a really long time, up until the point came where I was basically presented with the opportunity of getting paid to leave, I always toyed with different ideas of whether I would just take like 6-month unpaid leave or whether I would go on sabbatical and just take the opportunity to have a break out of work but not actually commit to leaving. And that was always something that I had in the back of my mind, but I just never really acted on. So when this opportunity came up, I'm seeing redundancy as an opportunity, which is crazy. Not everyone will see it like that, and I get that, but that's just the mindset I was in. I saw it as an opportunity, and to be honest, I didn't even need to voluntarily put myself up for it because they put me up for it themselves. So yeah, that's essentially what happened, and the whole process was very weird. It was very much a blur. Like I don't know, I feel like I pretty much blacked out on those last couple of months of last year. It was just a lot to process, and even though I'm saying that, oh, I was so almost wanted it to happen, it was still very overwhelming, that whole period of time. And I guess it was just because so much else was happening in my life, like big milestones. Getting married is a big milestone, so I think just coupling it with that and then like all the stuff happening in my personal life, yeah, it was a very overwhelming time. It was very surreal, but I look back now and it's just like one big blur. The only thing I remember really now clearly is my last day when I went to hand in my laptop and I actually went into the office in London. I actually filmed clips of me because I really wanted to remember that. I know that's something I wanted to hold on to, like my last moments working at that company that I'd been at for 5 years. Like I started as a graduate, like that was my first job straight out of uni, and I feel like that's why I had such a strong like connection, or like what's that word when you're like soul tied to something. Like that's kind of how I felt in a really weird way, because obviously it's a job, they don't care about me. At the end of the day, you're just another cog in the wheel, aren't you, when you're working at these firms. But having said that, my experience at that firm was overall really positive, especially in my last few weeks. I would say I had really nice encounters with a lot of my managers. Like people were really supportive and just really lovely about the situation. Obviously the people that I worked with closely had no control over anything that was happening. I just remember feeling really just thankful that I got the opportunity to work somewhere like that, because not everybody gets that opportunity and not everybody gets the experience that I had, and such a positive experience with quite a few different managers. So I was really grateful for that. Even though my time there came to an end, I knew in my head like I wasn't hugely sad about it, so I feel like the blow was just softened anyway. But yeah, that leads me to now and life post redundancy. So I left at the end of November, so December, January, February. So it's only really been 3 months. Wow, it's still very fresh. Maybe that's why I'm still processing it. Yeah, I feel like it's taken me a while to actually get into my own groove, you know, get into a rhythm of, I don't know, just have my own schedule. I was starting to become a bit hard on myself, thinking, come on, like we need to actually get our lives together, you know, we need to be productive. The fear of doing stuff on your own and not being tied to a 9-to-5, like a job that actually, you know, helps guide you towards a certain direction. Like there's always promotions coming up, they're always forward looking, like what's your next step? And when you work for yourself, by yourself, nobody's doing that. Like there's nobody sitting there going, oh, so what's your next level? Where's your next step? Like what are you gonna be doing? Like what are your goals for the year? Which is really daunting, but actually I found a lot of peace in that. Because I remember I used to get bad anxiety when performance reviews would come up, because I knew I didn't want the promotion, like I didn't want the next level, because I didn't want the more responsibility that would take me away from the stuff I was doing outside of work. But then I did want the money, so I was like, I want to earn more money, but then I don't want to be doing less of what I actually enjoy doing. When you work at big corporate firms, you often have to do a lot more work. I don't want to say contractually agreed to do, but you have to do a lot more work than your day-to-day job, basically. You have to do a lot of extra for the company and things like that. That's how it was in consulting. I didn't like that, I'll be honest. I didn't like the idea of having to go above and beyond when I simply didn't want to. Let's be real, I didn't want to. So I found a lot of peace in being able to carve out my own path and, you know, like set goals that 100% align with me and are not just money focused, they're actually interest focused and things that I actually want to attain in my lifestyle as a whole, and not just like I want to reach this money goal. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like I've been able to do that a lot more now with my goals. I've been on this massive journey in the past year, I would say, or maybe 6 months so far, of just kind of rediscovering myself. I think me being made redundant was a catalyst for that, because I think when you work at the big four or just corporate firms in general, I think it's very easy for that to become your personality trait and like, oh, I'm a consultant at the big four, or got this title and I work at all of these firms, and that's your excuse for not having anything else going on in your life. Maybe some can't relate, and some people are actually very good at keeping a balance between their actual life and their work life, but I wasn't very good at doing that. I did make it my personality, and as much as I did have stuff going on outside and all my socials that I was keeping up with, I was still largely a corporate gal. Like, that was my identity. So having had that removed, I have to really look at who I am aside from work, and I think that's honestly a journey everyone should go on if they have fallen into that trap of letting their work define them, because there's so much more to life. There really is. It's hard when you're in it because you just think, this is my life, this is what I do 40, 50 hours a week, like what else? When do I have the time to think about anything else? But honestly, it's so important to find the time. It really is. And I've found the time to do so much more lately, and I've just, honestly, my biggest feeling has just been, I felt free. Now, don't get me wrong, the financial side of things I'm still trying to work out. It's a little bit scary. It's a lot scary, I'll be real with you, because you don't know whether you're coming or going. You don't know when your next paycheck is coming. That's why I was really glad that I had that buffer of the redundancy pay, because I could just start figuring things out slowly, not put too much pressure on myself to make the money, but actually just take a step back and look at what's the plan, you know? And not have to rush it and panic, and I'm very grateful to have not had to go down that route. So yeah, at the moment we are feeling cool, calm, collected. Do you know what, when it comes to money, yeah, I've been on this journey with money as a whole, and this is something I could talk about all day long. I do a lot of videos on my TikTok about money in general, even on our podcast. So my podcast with Dev, Double Life, if you don't know, get to know, I'll leave the link down below. Yeah, we have had a lot of conversations about money mindset, and my mindset lately has had to change. Like, I have had to force myself to change it, because before I was in a place where I thought I was very stable and financially I knew what was coming in every month. Now I don't, which is terrifying, yes. But the thing about money is, when you need it, it comes. It really does. And that might be hard to hear if you're struggling right now financially. Don't get me wrong, I totally understand that. Like, I can't explain it. It's just I have a newfound faith in things just being as they are and being the way they need to be. And I just have this like really strong belief that I will never be without what I need, and because of that, it just allows me so much peace. I don't know what's coming in next month, but I know something is, and I know it will cover my bills and it will cover me. I don't know, I just have full faith in that. And I've done a lot of work, don't get me wrong, because I am that girl that used to have a huge lack scarcity mindset, and I've done a lot of work to try and undo that. I would say within the last few years. It's not been something that I've been solely focused on, but in the background it's something that I've been aware of for a while, and I've slowly been working on that, chipping away at that, and honestly it's not done me too badly so far. But yeah, from a work point of view, things are very much still a work in progress. I'm still learning every day. This whole content creator lifestyle I've been used to somewhat, but it is a whole different ballgame when you're doing it as your full-time gig. But anyways, that's me from a work front. What can I tell you otherwise? So obviously I got married, I had my nikkah. Now when I say I got married, you guys, I still have wedding events coming up. I know I've spoken about this a lot on other platforms, but just to not confuse you here, like we still got our mehndi, we still got our main wedding day, we've just had our nikkah. And actually I did post a video about our nikkah, about the day that we basically had back in September now. How crazy is it? It's been like 6 months already. Time flies when you're having fun, let me tell you. It really does. Yeah, wedding planning, it's going really well actually. I was quite stressed. I had some pre-planning anxiety from doing the wedding stuff, because the nikkah, I just felt like that took a lot of energy, and that was very stressful for many reasons. But this time around we have a wedding planner for the main day, and because of that, that has taken so much stress out of the planning and everything. I think it's just made it a lot more enjoyable, like the whole process. Just having someone else to take over, you know, the admin bits and the chasing people and the back and forth of what we want people to do. I don't know, honestly, there's just so much that goes into wedding planning. It's a full-time job. It's a full-time gig. I honestly don't know what I would have done if I was still working full-time and planning wedding. I don't know how people do it. Like, I understand the brides that actually like tear their hair out and are so stressed while trying to work full time and plan their wedding, because it's huge. And especially when you're doing multiple events. Like, luckily for me, I'm just focused on the one event. I was not prepared to put myself under any extra pressure for no reason. But the brides that have to kind of sort all the events themselves, my gosh, that goes off to you, because it's a stressful experience. But yeah, honestly, you guys, life after nikkah has been so good. Like, we obviously live together. I still live in my flat now. It's quite funny because I know a lot of people are going to be like, your husband moved in with you, you're meant to move in with him. And do you know what, like, this is why I say, there's no rules to this stuff. Like, you just do what works for you. To be honest, he did actually buy us a house to move into, but we just haven't moved in yet. So that's probably going to be the plan in the next year or so. But for now, like, I was already settled here. He was living at home. We knew we wanted our own space together. So just the easiest thing to do right now, especially with so much else going on in our lives. Like, he started a business last year. He's been really busy. Like, I lost my job. I'm trying to pick up content creation and figure that new life out. Like, we've got a wedding we're planning. There's just so many moving parts. So it was just a much easier decision for him to move in here rather than both of us move to a completely new place, have to like do it up, decorate it. This is what made sense to us, and I really believe that you make your own rules. Okay, there are certain things obviously you have to abide by, but culturally I don't know, people get too hung up on, oh, but that's not the way it's supposed to be done. Then you don't do it that way. You don't do it that way, okay? You know what's also been a tricky transition to being on camera essentially full time is when you marry someone that is the opposite of that, like wants to be private, like doesn't want their face online, and then your job is literally to be in front of the camera 24/7. Like, don't get me wrong, he's so supportive of me doing it, but he's not into it. It's just not his vibe. And this kind of job, it is 24/7. Like, you don't ever really switch off unless you're asleep. So obviously, like, I don't have to film every second of my day, I'm not saying that, but it's just when I've got stuff going on, a lot of the time I spend with him. Like, I'm with him all the time, pretty much. So it's like, well then, I don't want to invade his personal space and be filming while we're together because it's not a vibe for him, but then it's also my life and I want to share it with you guys, and I know you guys like seeing that content. So it's just like trying to figure out the balance, trying to keep everyone happy, you know? Like, and also, I love capturing stuff on camera anyway for the memories. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I do film that I just don't upload because it's for us, and I think that everyone should always operate that way. Like, not everything that you have on camera has to be posted publicly. So it's not abnormal for me to like always be like taking photos or videos of stuff because I just love having those memories. But it's then what I post publicly is like I have to always really triple think, should this be public or should this be private? It's not always that much of a difficult decision, but it's just one of those things. Because for example, Ramadan's coming up, so I really want to do some Ramadan vlogs, but obviously like we're going to be eating together and we actually want to start cooking together at home, which actually I'm going to be filming a vlog after this and it will probably include a bit of that. But then I'm thinking in my head, like, can I film us cooking? Like, that's something I do want to include in my vlog, but then he doesn't want his face in it, and it's just like all these things. I'm like, do I do it? Do I not? I want to do it, but I don't think I can. I don't know, it's just a weird thing to kind of figure out, but I'm sure I'll figure it out anyway. You guys actually asked me some questions on Instagram. I'm gonna have a look on there and see if we can answer a few before I end this video, because I am pretty much done with my makeup now. I'm just gonna do a few finishing touches. I might do a tight line of my lash line. I'm going to be filming some videos today, so I haven't gone for a super intense makeup, but I want it to look good, you know? The effect of a black waterline, it just elevates the look. Okay, so someone asked how to hint for a proposal or signs a proposal is coming. This is such an interesting question. So I had it in my head that I really wanted to be proposed to. Now, as a Muslim bride, it's such a weird concept. A man can't really propose unless you've met families. Just so many other things that have to happen that already says that you're getting married before a proposal comes. He can't propose without families not knowing each other, or you having that conversation, or you even having a date in mind for your nikkah. Like, I don't know how that would work. I genuinely don't. So the way that it happened for me, it might happen different for other girls. So take this with a pinch of salt, this is just my experience. I always knew I wanted to be proposed to. I didn't care if I knew it was coming or whatever, like I just wanted that gesture. I just wanted to like feel like that effort, do you know what I mean? The surprise element was the effort that he went to. It wasn't the fact that, oh my god, I'm now getting married. Like, I didn't want to be surprised about getting married. I wanted to be surprised that, oh, this is the effort he went to show me he wants to marry me. Does that make sense? Anyways, so we had our nikkah date actually booked in. We'd met families, all the stuff was happening, and I'd already hinted thousands of times I wanted this proposal and I wanted him to ask me to marry him. This might sound really strange to people because it's like, well, why is he gonna ask you to marry him when you already booked your date and you're getting married regardless? Like I said, it was just a gesture, okay? This is what's quite funny, is that he actually ended up proposing literally a couple of weeks before our actual nikkah ceremony, and our nikkah had been booked for a couple of months. So to be honest, it was a very, not a rush thing, but it was very last minute, if you will, the whole thing, planning it. I have a whole video on planning it, so you can watch that. It did get to a point where I was like, I don't think this guy's gonna ask me. Like, I don't think he's listening here. I said it quite a few times before we'd even like booked our nikkah, but once it was booked, I didn't dare say it. I felt stupid because I was like, I've just booked us to get married and now I'm trying to ask him to marry me. Like, if he's not gonna do it, whatever. But it was like a couple of weeks before, it was actually around my birthday. He had this whole setup done. I might show a photo, depends how I feel. He just basically did this massive setup in my living room. That was the first time I also saw my ring. He actually like got down on one knee. It was so cute. The effort he went to, my gosh, bless him, bless his soul. He literally did this whole setup all by himself. Like, he didn't have anyone to help him. He also wanted to surprise me. Like, I had no idea what was happening that day. It was the day after my birthday, I think. When he told me later he had this other like separate thing planned, it didn't work out because, I don't know, something went wrong and he actually had a different plan to what he actually ended up doing. He wanted to do it in a different location. He had all this going on and I had literally no clue he was doing any of this. I'm totally lying. I knew he was gonna propose on my birthday. I knew it. There was a certain conversation we had and I said something jokingly like, I better get a ring on my birthday. We never even went ring shopping together for me. We went for him. I joked that and he just, the way he looked at me, he was like, it just looked like he got caught and I was like, oh damn. He was already gonna do that. So then I almost slightly ruined his surprise, but not really because I had no idea. So the plan was to do it on my birthday. I know some girls are like, don't you dare propose to me on my birthday, but I actually love that idea because the gift was my ring and I already knew I was gonna marry him. So it wasn't that big a deal making my birthday into a proposal. It was just making the day extra special. That's a birthday that I would remember forever. Anyways, yeah, he was meant to do it on my birthday. Plans didn't work out and I was really confused because I was like, oh, I really did think he was gonna do it. So if he's not done it now, it's not happening. And I was really confused. So my birthday, I was like expecting it to happen and it didn't. And then I was like, oh, I really misjudged. I thought this was happening and it's really not. Then the day after, he had to like, I guess, formulate a new plan because things didn't go to plan. And that's why I was so surprised when it actually did happen because at that point I didn't expect it. I thought, oh, maybe I misjudged. Like, obviously I didn't bring it up to him and say, what, you gotta propose on my birthday? I didn't say anything, but then he did it the next day and I came home to this like massive display and he gave me the ring and he wrote this really cute note and it was just really sweet. Then we got married actually 2 weeks later. So it wasn't like your typical engagement where you actually get engaged and then you have that period of time. I do feel like it's quite common for Muslims to do it that way, but each to their own, you know? Like, I'm really happy with everything because realistically he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to propose, like we were already getting married. There's never really the proposal stage in a Muslim relationship, I don't think. You kind of just decide, yeah, I want to marry you. Then you go tell your family and then you get married. I think just like the fact that he went to all that effort, the fact that he organised all that by himself and just he knew it'd make me happy and that's why he did it. That meant more to me than us like having an engagement, if that makes sense. To be honest, I would have loved to have an engagement party. I always envisioned that, but obviously our nikkah was so close to the actual like proposal moment that our nikkah was that for us. So in answer to your question, which I completely forgot what it was, I'm so sorry, I just started talking about myself. Hint for a proposal. Honestly, I just spammed him, like this was maybe a year or so prior. I would spam him with photos of rings that I liked. Do you know what? It's kind of hard to like hint for a proposal itself. I didn't really hint. I dead straight told him like I want to be proposed to. I didn't drop hints. I was very clear. Like depending on your circumstances, it's because it's not usual. None of his friends have proposed to any of their girls that they married, he wasn't around that kind of vibe. Like, he wasn't around people that did that. So I had to be direct and tell him, like, this is what I want, because it wasn't the norm for him. And I think if you're in that situation, then like, you have to understand from their perspective. It won't make sense in their head if they are in an environment where that's not normal. But if they want to make you happy and if they love you, then they'll do it anyway. I'm not very good at hinting. I'm not a hinter. This is what I want. I'll just be straight up. So I don't know if that's any good advice, but signs of proposals coming. I can't even say that because I had no idea. Literally no inkling. The only thing I had was that conversation we had about me joking about the ring, but then he threw me off because he didn't actually propose that day. So I had no clue. And I had no clue the setup he was going to do. I had no clue any of his plans. So yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not even able to give you any hints that I had. Someone also asked, how often do you visit your in-laws? By the way, you guys, I haven't talked through like what makeup I'm wearing or using in this video. I will drop all the links down below, so if you are liking the look of anything, I'll link it so you can check it out. But someone asked, how often do you visit your in-laws? Now, this is something that has been like playing on my mind a lot lately, because I really wish new brides would get a handbook on how to operate as a daughter-in-law, if that makes sense. Like, especially when you don't live with your in-laws. So I see them once a week-ish at the moment. I try to go around every weekend. They don't live that far from me, so it's not like a huge effort to go and see them. And I think we're still in that stage of bonding, getting to know each other. I feel like that is quite regular. I don't know if someone would think that's not regular enough, or I really don't know what the ballpark is. So like, you guys let me know, how often do you see your in-laws? Because I just don't know. I don't know what's the right amount of time. I don't know what the right things to do are. Like, it's a very confusing world, and it's just one of those things. I feel like you just have to find your feet and like hope for the best, and maybe hope that if they have other expectations, they'll share it in a kind way. And honestly, I have had, alhamdulillah, the best experience with my in-laws so far. They are just such chill, laid back, lovely people. They really just don't put the pressure on. They don't really expect anything. Like, I haven't felt any like pressure from them. I just feel the pressure internally from myself. I'm like, am I doing it right? How am I coming across? Like, you know, all these fears that you have, like you want to put your best foot forward, and when you don't know which one that is, it can get a bit tricky. But genuinely, I think you see them as often as you feel comfortable with, I guess, is the answer. Because if they do have a problem with how little or much it is, I'm sure they would raise it. So you go with what feels right to you. So once a week is right to me at the moment. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's a right answer for this stuff. I really don't. But if there is, let me know, because I want to know. Someone asked if I had a big wedding. So my nikkah was very small and intimate. I have a whole video on that and loads of TikToks, so you can go and check those out. But my big wedding, I would say, in a couple months now, which is so exciting. I'm definitely going to do more videos of that, and I'll share more BTS of how that's coming along. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Like, the planning and the effort and everything that's gone into this day, I just can't wait to see how it turns out. I'm so excited for it. But you guys, I think we have come to the end of the video, because I am now ready. Like, my face is ready. Gosh, I've had so much to share with you and talk through, and I feel like I still have more to say, but we'll leave it for another day because we've got plenty of time. We're back on YouTube now. I'm really committed. I know I took a whole chunk of time off. I think I was just processing life and everything that was being thrown at me. But now I feel like I'm ready. I'm ready to come back. I'm so excited for Ramadan. I'm going to be doing the weekly vlogs again, and I'm just going to be vlogging in general. You can come on this journey with me of being a newly redundant full-time content creator girly who's just trying to navigate that world and, you know, just create a successful life for myself outside the corporate world. So I'm excited for that. Yeah, I'm gonna go change. So I'm gonna love you and leave you. I really hope that the quality of this video is good. Let me know if you think that this quality was a lot better than usual. Like, give me your opinions, because this camera was hella expensive. So if it's not that much better than my phone and how my usual videos turn out, then you need to tell me right now. I can send this baby back, but this baby is so beautiful. I get really giddy about fancy cameras and stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited that, and so yeah, grateful that I was able to invest in it. But anyways, thanks so much for watching if you made it to the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed catching up with me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!